Do you think there's anyone in the world in the 1500 who you view as not being able to beat yourself?
Right now, no. On any given day, I think I'm able to compete with anybody in the world. I think if being top 3 in the U.S. gives me good enough confidence that I can do that. I think on any given day, I can medal at the Worlds. It's just can I put it together on the day, and can I keep myself excited going into over the next 6 weeks? So.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him. That was Ethan Strand, fresh off of making his first U.S. team, this time for the 2025 World Championships held in Tokyo, Japan next month. Ethan ran 3:30 and change and placed second. And the men's 1500 at the 2025 U.S. Track and Field Championships held this past weekend in Eugene, Oregon. So fresh off the press, Ethan is joining the podcast today. He's back. He's a fan favorite. He's been on the podcast probably 5-6 times at this point, and he dives deep into this performance, the training, the mindset, the tactics that made this all possible, as well as a look forward to his career. He thinks he can be one of the best in the world at this event, and it was really awesome to dive into that specific mindset with him. I'm going to keep this one short because I want you guys to just hop into this one, hear Ethan's kind of breakdown of everything. If you enjoy it, share with a friend, a family member, a teammate, someone who you think would find value and benefit from it. Give us a 5-star review. I genuinely think this episode is worthy of that, and it takes 3 seconds of your time. And hit the follow or subscribe button so you never miss another episode. We've got some massive conversations coming up with people like Cooper Luttenhouse, Jack Fleming, the president of the Boston Marathon, and many other studs that you haven't heard recently. And so hit the follow button so you don't miss those conversations. And without further ado, enjoy my conversation with recent U.S. team member and one of the best to do it in the 1500 in the world at this point, Mr. Ethan Strand. Ladies and gentlemen, he's back. He's here, this time with a U.S. second place title to his name. He's going to the World Championships in Tokyo. It was exhilarating in the stadium. You know him, you love him, the man, the myth, the legend, Ethan Strand. Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been a crazy last few days, so that race was awesome.
I feel like you knew you could do it. Am I wrong?
I did. Yeah. I told a lot of the people close to me, like, I'm gonna make the team. Like, I'm gonna do it, and like, a lot of them believe me. So I didn't feel like I was overstretching. So I think that was a fairly realistic goal for me.
I had breakfast with Alex the Sunday. So you raced on Saturday. I had breakfast with him on Sunday. And I love Nate Green. Great guy. He's been on the podcast multiple times. Incredible story. What I said, though, I had true confidence in terms of picking you on the team. Not that there's really any gambling or sports betting in the sport, but as a fan, you say who you think is going to make the team. I was like, I've never seen a race where this dude clearly was the best guy in the field and placed second in the worst of conditions. Did that race at NCAAs give you that confidence the same way it gave me confidence in picking you on the team?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think NCAAs gave me any confidence at all, honestly. Like, those races are so just like unpredictable, and like, you're really not testing your physical ability at all in those races. It's can you make smart decisions and not be reactive? And I was very reactive, and I found myself way back. But I'd say like a race like the International Mile at or just pacing Parker at the Portland at Stumptown, those 2 races this summer gave me way more confidence that I thought I could make the team than NCAAs did. NCAAs is like, I did feel like one of the best guys in the field with my last 120. But yeah, it's not, like I said, it's not, I'm not testing my physical ability. It's a sit and kick race.
For you, after that race, how much of a gut check was it of like, I'm fast, but like, I got to figure out tactics. Like, what conversations happened with Milt? Because I'm sure, I mean, you guys are very like self-aware, very self-effacing. I think that was kind of the general sentiment of like, this guy's so good, but he's got to figure out how to be in position.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been a work in progress, and I've gotten to the point where I'm in a race where people are kind of looking to me to make the moves. I've gotten really good at it, but in a meet like NCAAs, everybody's trying to win. Like, nobody is like kind of waiting for me to do something. Everybody's going to take it upon themselves to try to win the race. And that's kind of new. And because the past 2 times in NCAAs, I haven't been trying to win. Like, I wasn't in a position, like the last 2 1500 meters, I wasn't in a position to win those races. I wasn't quite good enough yet. And so it was a new tactic. It was a new experience. And I think the more I've thought about it, it's like I was just reactive. Like I should have been confident enough in myself that I should have been the one to make decisions and make the moves. And instead, I was waiting for everybody else to do it and then trying to react. And in a 1500, when you're going to close in 50 point, 51 point, like if you're reactive, everybody else gets to step up on you. So I think I don't know how many more races I'll run like that in my life, but I think I've gotten the best practice out of anybody in the world. Everybody in NCAA has, and so if those races decide to show up again, I'm ready for them.
In regards to USA's, would you say you had to be reactive? Because I think that's a race where you're probably not going to be the guy to make the move. You weren't, and you're probably not going to be the guy to take it out from the gun. You weren't. What do you think was the difference between being reactive at NCAAs versus reactive at USA's?
I think being reactive at NCAAs was just a personal decision of I don't want to go take the lead. Like that was it. And I was okay with it going slow. Like I had confidence in my ability to close. And I was like, if I don't take the lead and if I just follow a few guys taking the move, I just didn't expect 8 people to come around the outside of me going into a lap to go. And then I end up in 12th. In USA's, it's like, yeah, the favorites are going to go up and press. And I was totally okay with that because that fit into what was best for me. NCAA's was more of, I was doing something that probably actually wasn't what was best for me in that scenario. And obviously it was okay for me. I'm going to finish second, but not my best, not the best case scenario for me. And USA's was, even at USA's, I still, down the home stretch, I had 3 people come around me, and then I found myself in 7th or 8th going into the lap to go, boxed in, and I had to swing really wide down the backstretch. And I think the decisive move was me going out wide down the backstretch, but I was also reactive going into a lap to go and found myself further back than I wanted to.
How scared were you with a lap to go when you did get kind of shot out the back? Did you replay NCAAs in your head or no?
I was a little nervous just because we were running so fast that it's like, am I going to be able to, I didn't know that I was going to be able to actually like chase people down the backstretch and have something left. And then when I swung out wide and I started just clicking it off and passing people, and I still, felt like I had stuff left, I wasn't scared at all. But with the lap to go, I was a little nervous because Gary came around me and I'm like, okay, I'm going to follow him. And then Nathan came up on the side. So then I'm stuck. So I had to go way behind him to then swing wide. And I was a little nervous, but obviously it worked out.
I was watching in the stadium, high up, looking at the finish line, and I saw maybe with 350 to go, you kind of tried to make a move and someone got in front of you. I haven't watched the race back. And so you kind of had to take a step off the pedal. And in my head, I was like, pardon my French, I was like, shit. I was like, oh boy. And then on the backstretch, you started flying. And I was like, okay, here we go. It's Strand time, baby. What was that decision like to, push from so far out? Obviously not push for the lead, but make a really decisive move and not leave it for the last 100.
Yeah, I mean, personally, the fact that there were 7 people there was kind of shocking to me. I didn't know. I had an idea of how fast we were running, but I mean, to run 330, we still had to run like 53. I still had to run 53 flat the last lap. So it actually was like, to me, it felt like a pretty tactical race. And so when I picked my head up with the lap to go and there were still 7 people there, it was like, okay, well, my positioning going into the last 200 really matters. It wasn't strung out. It wasn't wide open. And if it had been 4 people like down the backstretch, like all spread out, like that would have been different. And I probably wouldn't have made that move and I would have waited. But the fact that there were so many people still there, I was like, 300 meters ago, I was like, I have to do this because positioning matters so much.
What's going through your mind with 100 to go? Was there a point where you thought you may have had it?
I thought with 120 meters ago, I was like, I'm going to win this race. And I like, this is like a cool thing about Coach Milt and my coaching staff at UNC is I can do something really cool and I can make a US team. And then within 30 minutes of me walking out of the media stuff and all of that, they're already telling me we can do this better. Like, you did this great. But like, right here, we could have won the race if you did this a little differently. And so with 120 to go, I was like, my brain's going absolutely nuts. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to win the race. And so I just go I open up completely. I went as hard as I could with 120 meters to go. And one thing I'm figuring out about myself is I don't think I can quite go wide open with 120 to go. I think I got about 80 to 70 meters of like acceleration before I start decelling. And that's when I saw with 30 meters to go, I started getting caught. But yeah, with 100 to go, I was like, I'm going to win this race. And with 30 to go, I was like, I'm going to get beat. I'm going to get passed. So I just got to try to hold on for it and to be in the top three.
I respect all people. I love stories. I'm a fan of the sport. I'll be so real. I did not know who Jonah Koech was before this Sunday. Did you know who this guy was?
I knew who Jonah was just from the Diamond League he ran early June. Obviously, I don't hear much about him. I don't hear like the intricacies of what all of my other competitors are doing as well. So he was just kind of like almost a wild card. Like, you know how good Cole Hawker is, you know how good Yard is, you know how good Hobbs is, but like he was just kind of a wild card. And so I didn't like, I planned for him to be there, but I didn't plan for him to be the one like competing for spots.
Did it surprise you Nagus didn't make the team? I mean, I was telling people, I got flamed, by the way. I'm not going to name names, but what I said going into the race was, I go, Cole and Yard have looked good this year, but they haven't looked good enough where I think they're locks. And everyone was like, no, they're definitely locks. And I was like, I think it's going to be one of them, Strand, and then I think third. I have no clue. So, by the way, I was terrible in other predictions of other races. So, guys, I'm not self-glazing myself here. I was wrong in other things. But did it surprise you that Nagus didn't make the team? And that Hawker
Yes.
almost didn't make it. I mean, it was close.
Yeah, I would have expected Yard to. No, I wouldn't say make the team, like, because there were so many guys there that really wanted to make the team, and I think if Yard had gone like 56 point his second 400 instead of 58 point, it would have gotten rid of a lot of people, and it might have, changed things up. That's my personal thought. But no, I was shocked that like he wasn't like he didn't have a little bit more with 100 meters to go. Not as much at him not making the team. But yeah, like with 100 meters to go, when I was just like shocked that I was running by him and Hobbs, and it didn't seem like they had a reaction. But yeah, I mean, it's like the 1500 in the US right now is absolutely crazy. It's ridiculous.
Did you hear or experience the story of Yard not having a singlet in the call room?
No.
Oh, really? You didn't hear about this? Okay,
No,
one of his
I did not.
teammates told me. Apparently, he got to the call room and he realized he didn't have his singlet on. And so his coach, Coach Kelsey, assistant coach, literally had to sprint to the Airbnb, get it, and bring it down to him.
Wow.
But you guys were so close to racing that like she couldn't even go in. So she had to give it to someone who gave it to him.
That
I
is
don't know
nuts.
how much that affected his race, but it would have been hilarious if he walked out, because I think he was wearing like a short sleeve warm up.
Okay.
I would have laughed if like he just comes out and people are like, what are you wearing, man? And he makes a team. So you never know how much that stuff like affects you.
Absolutely, but knowing Yard, he's going to win the Diamond League, and we're going to have four guys. We're going to have 4 U.S. guys at Tokyo. I can see that absolutely.
Do you think Jakob will race the Diamond League? 15?
I think so, and I think Yard can beat him.
No. Really?
Yes. Yard has been.
Do you think he's fallen off that much?
No, I don't think he's fallen off that much. I think Jakob's going to probably switch up the strategy a little bit, and I think in a 200 meter sprint, I got my money on Yard.
Really? If I was Parker Wolf, I'd bet you some facial hair right now. Yeah. I mean, I'm just such a Jakob fan. But like Jakob's like my favorite athlete. I've loved Jakob. And I just think the Diamond League is where you don't bet against him. He's so good at the Diamond League.
Absolutely.
So,
no, I mean, he's obviously world class, but I mean, he is the best in the world, but you get, I mean, anything like we saw this past weekend, anything can happen. So I could see Yard kicking him down with 100 meters to go and in the Diamond League final, and have the U.S. having 4 people there, which would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think he's got more on the line, which helps. Like, I think in some ways that's like his world championships, whereas like a Jakob or Kerr, if they show up, it matters, but it's probably more of like, a kind of tune up of sorts.
Well, I think I also probably think would be less pressure for Yard at a Diamond League final than a U.S. championship. Like for me, like I had zero pressure on me, because if I don't make the team this week, it's not a letdown. It's not nobody's like, you did this wrong and this wrong. And like, for me, I was kind of able to walk in there, step on the line kind of free of any like external pressure. And I feel for those like three guys up top because they had so much, the Hobbs, Yard, and Cole, they had so much external pressure, and it absolutely weighs on you. But I feel like Yard's going to be able to step on the line in the Diamond League final and kind of be like, pressure's off. Like, let's go see what I can do. So that's why I could see him. I could see him winning that race.
What's the ideal schedule? Do you like that the Diamond League finals before the World Championships? Do you like how late the World Championships is? If you're like the commissioner of track and field, what are you doing? Where are you placing things?
As a collegiate, definitely not. Like as someone who's coming from college, no. But like as a pro, you have the ability to just shift your schedule to whenever. So like those guys, like next year, like my schedule is going to be shifted around when world. Like I guess there's not world championships. There's that other championship, but like my schedule is going to be shifted around towards when the Diamond League final is, and it's going to like the months don't really matter when you're running, like when you're a pro as a runner. It's just kind of like when is your championship, and those are the months that you need to be ready for. So like I guess people with normal jobs, it's like summer is like your chill time, and then the school year is like important, or you got to be like ready to go, ready to work. But for us, it's like we only need to be ready to really race around the championship races, and so like actually the schedule or the months, how late it is, that doesn't bother me at all.
I'm sure you'd agree with this. Last year, what I didn't like is I think the Diamond League final was after the Olympics. I like that I like when it's like the World Championships, the Olympics is like the final race of the year.
I agree. I do agree with that 100% because it's like the Diamond League final is huge, but it's not, I wouldn't classify it as big of an event as the World Championships, the Olympics. Absolutely not. Like it's just not. So having the World Championships last is, I think, super cool.
Is this new? You might know better than me. Is it new that if you win the Diamond League final, you get an automatic bid? I don't remember that in the past.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
So I truly don't know. I know, like, I think Josh Kerr won the last World Championship, so he gets an auto bid to this World Championship.
I know the World Championship bid, but I've never heard until this year of because when Yard didn't make it, I was like, oh gosh, he's not on the team. And then someone was like, no, he can run the Diamond League final. I was like, when did that become a thing? And I think same with Sydney, which is kind of a ballsy move, but it just shows how confident she is in the 400 meter hurdles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think she was the world champion, so she does get an auto bid.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's an interesting kind of exclusion.
Yeah. One thing I think they should add is also Olympic champs should get a bye.
You think to the World Championships?
Yeah. I mean, this is all like I think in the future this is only going to help the U.S. So I'm trying to add in all these ways that the U.S. can get extra people into the World Championship.
What's your take on Hawker winning the 5K? Is he a 5K guy now?
No, that race was bread and butter for Cole. Like I was sitting on the sideline watching that, and I'm like, with 2 laps to go, I'm like, he's gonna win. Like from 800 meters out, nobody's running away from him. If they wanted to get rid of him, they should have gone from 1,200 meters a mile out, and I think he would have kicked like a madman and kicked his way to 4th or 5th. But like I think they could have gotten some separation. But when they didn't start going until 800 meters, I was like, all right, you just set it up on a silver platter. Like this is what he's good at, you know.
Who was the better college duo, you and Parker or Cole and Coop?
I don't know. You gotta leave that to everybody else to decide, I guess. I don't think I can have a say on that. Obviously, we'll see how like I think the college duos should extend beyond your time in college. So at the end of our 4 careers, we can have that
sit down and have
that
the
debate.
Combo.
Yeah,
I love it.
Obviously, one of them's a gold medalist, so me and Parker have a lot to live up to.
Some work to do, yeah. For you, any not debates, any bets with Parker going into USA's or no?
No bets this time. We weren't racing each other, you know. I think
that's fair.
I think when we're racing each other, we can have some friendly bets. But no, I was just all in on like just trying to support him as much as possible and build him up, get him as much confidence because he needed it. And that race, like I said, wasn't like Parker's type of race. So for him to still be there after 6 weeks of training, like still trying to kick with those guys is a good sign for him. He's not going anywhere.
Who's more talented, would you say, you or Parker?
My personal opinion, I've told people this for the last 4 years. I think Parker's more talented.
Yeah.
I tell
doing that off of 6 weeks is I don't know if many people could do that.
I tell people that all the time. They're like, what? Like, no. And I'm like, yeah, like he's a freak. It's like he gets, I think 2 more weeks of training and he might have made that. I think he probably would have made that team. It's like he gets 2 months. This year we obviously figured out because he's been kind of on and off, a little injured, but 2 weeks of training, 2 months of training, and he's ready to take on the world. It's crazy to me. And we saw what happened last year when he was consistent for a year, a full year, and he was third at trials. So no, I think he's extremely talented, and I think he's probably a little bit more. He's at least more cardiovascularly talented than me. He's got an engine that I don't have. So
Obviously, after this season ends, or maybe after the championships, you tell me, moving on from Milt and going to Mike Smith and Flagstaff, what were the emotions of, knowing this is your final USAs with Coach Milt, and how cool was it to make a team with him?
I mean, I think it was the best feeling ever, is to know that the plan that he has for me, that has been he's talked about it so much, being a 10-year plan, and he's still able to get me to this point after 4 years, and it's incredible. And I'm still gonna be coached by him through Worlds now. Just finish out the season with Coach Milt, but to like see his training and his like philosophy and how he thinks about things work really well for me, it just proves to me that I made the right decision. So like I have zero regrets about my college career and like my decision on where I wanted to go and who I trusted with my future.
We've obviously, throughout the years on the podcast, talked extensively about, the athlete in person that he's kind of turned you into. You've joked about kind of your lackadaisical nature as a freshman, which is always fun to talk about. Is it cool to look back on just how far you've come since you stepped foot in the doors at Chapel Hill to where you're leaving the program?
Yeah, I mean, I think like when I came, I was like obviously a little lackadaisical, like not taking things, I guess, as seriously as I should. It was never a, it was never a like a, it was never that I wasn't going to be this good or do this. It was just like how I was going to get there. And I always believed in myself that this was going to happen. And my thought on that was all the things I was doing wrong when I got to college, like the moment it got in the way of my goals, I was going to stop doing it, or I was going to change things up. And Milt just kind of guided me through that and actually helped me figure out what were the things that I needed to change, or what were the things that I needed to fix. So like it was never overbearing. It was never like a dictatorship. It was never, you're doing this. It was always like, hey, this is what I see. This is what I think we should be doing. And it was still up to me at the end of the day, whether I wanted to do it or not. And so I think that's like super important, because I wasn't being forced to do anything I didn't want to do. But also in my, just how I operate, like I wanted to get to this point, and I was going to get to this point at some point. And it just depends. I think having Milt as a coach actually expedited that process a little bit, just because he's so good at figuring out how someone can get better and what someone needs to do to get better.
The kids who make the Foot Lockers, the NXNs, the Brooks PRs, the running lanes, I think they all come into college and all think and hope and dream and try to train like they will get to where you ultimately ended up getting, both in college and then right after their college career, making a world team, and doing it in the fashion that you did it. You were one of those kids. What separated you from the 99% who don't actually make those things happen?
Yeah, I don't really know. Obviously, in high school, you hear yourself like say, "I'm gonna, win an NCAA title, or I'm gonna make a world team." It's kind of delusional, because what have you done in high school that proves that, outside of Cooper Leckenhouse, different story? What have you done in high school that shows that you could win an NCAA championship? Like probably none of those guys. Like the only person right now in high school outside of Cooper that I can see is like he's done some stuff well enough that he'll be a title contender in a few years, I think, is like Owen Powell. Like the majority of high schoolers,
Quincy
they're
Wilson,
not running. They're not running. Yeah, they're not running fast enough, and they're not competing at high enough levels that they should think that of themselves. But half of them do, because you have to be a little delusional to like get yourself to this level. And obviously for some people it doesn't work out, but a lot more people are around the sport. And a lot more people are, I guess, trying to figure out how good they can be. And I think we see that kind of trickle down effect is the more people are involved in the sport, you get a lot more people that think they can do it, and then you have a lot more people actually trying to win NCAA titles. I think that's a big part of the amount of depth in the USA right now. Like so many people are so good.
I had Milt on the podcast for the first time coming up on our 2-year anniversary. Very proud of it.
Yeah.
I think fall of 2023. And I remember very distinctly at the end of that conversation, he said, you got to get Parker Wolf. You got to get Ethan Strand on. I knew your name. I definitely knew Parker's because I think Parker had a little bit more of a standout, kind of senior year. But I remember trusting Milt enough and respecting him enough to be like, okay, sure. And that's when I reached out to you. And I think that's why I had you on so early, is because I was like, if Milt sees something in this kid, I want to hear his story. And it's really cool to look back on that conversation because, I mean, we were so base in, the topics we talked about. I think we only had like one NCAAs to recap from Austin and you weren't all that thrilled in that conversation. What do you think it was about you that, Milt coaches a full team of men and he coached so many champions at Stanford, so many studs at Stanford, that he would say something like that to me after the podcast? I could have really anyone in the running world on that, like, you got to get Ethan on the podcast. His exact words were like, people are going to know these two kids' names soon.
Yeah. I think it was, personally, I think it's our love to compete is like, that's the main thing for us. It's like, we can do other things. We can love training. We can love to go outdoor and run, but I think the main focus for us is competing. And it was, I think, to Milt, probably very visible. And that's when he sees that, obviously, I think he probably feels like that person's going to be really good if he sees someone who just loves to go out and race and try to beat people. If I had to guess, it was probably that piqued his interest and was like, okay, these kids are probably going to be pretty good.
I think there's another thing where it's like, everyone says they love to race. What do you think distinguishes the people who say they love to race versus the people who actually racing kind of sucks? So you might enjoy it, but like racing's painful. Like that's the point, is you're supposed to leave it all out there. How do you know when someone actually loves to compete versus just like they talk the talk of like, oh, I love racing. I love pushing my body.
That's a really good question. I think it's kind of dictated by their actions and how they actually act on the track. You got someone that said if they're just saying they love to compete, but they go out there and it doesn't seem like they're giving it their all. Like, I don't know. Do they actually love to compete? I feel like every time I know, like watching Parker this weekend, like he can be not at 100% and he gave it absolutely everything he had. And you can tell, and you can also tell by after how he is after the fact as well, that he loves it that much and he is that invested in it. Obviously, like I say, I love competing, but yeah, competing does kind of suck sometimes. Like sometimes when there's a lot of pressure, the build up to competition is kind of brutal. The actual competition, I think, is just a chance to see how good you can be. It goes back to a conversation we had like freshman year, is constant seek versus show. It's like, you got to seek out how good you can be. You're not going to go out there and show it all the time. It's especially when you're racing people who are better than you. You're not going to go show. I'm not going to go, obviously, like my freshman year, I wasn't going to go show Cole Hawker that I was better than him. It's like, now I'm not going to go show Cole Hawker that I was better than him. I got to go figure out, like, can I be as good as him? Like, that's for me to find out. And the only way I can do that is through competition. And so I think it's more of a mindset thing on how people treat competition, how people act, like how people actually compete, and how people think about it after the fact. Because you can see, I think there's just a clear distinction between those types of people and the people who think about it the wrong way. And for a coach like Milt, who's seen so many athletes and so many good athletes and probably so many not so good athletes, he's able to pick that out pretty well.
Do you think there's anyone in the world in the 1500 who you view as not being able to beat yourself?
Right now, no. Like on any given day, I think I'm able to compete with anybody in the world. I think if being top 3 in the U.S. is good enough, it gives me good enough confidence that I can do that, because when we were 1st, 3rd, and 5th at the Olympics last year, it's like, to make the U.S. team, you have to be roughly top five 1500 meter runner in the world. And
And third and five this year didn't make the team.
yeah, so it's like, I mean, I don't think I think it would be bad for me to sit here and be like, nope, I'm not there yet. Obviously those guys have done this more. They have raced like the guys that are top 10 in the world. Like they have raced at this level more. They have run world championships before. They have run like more national championships. Um, and so their experience is obviously more. They have more experience, but I think in terms of ability and confidence, like in what I think I can do, I think on any given day I can medal at the worlds. It's just can I put it together on the day, and can I keep myself excited going into over the next 6 weeks? So
The reason I asked that question is because there's the classic sentiment every middle school boy says, like to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if we're defining best off of Olympic champion, which I'm sure Jakob and Josh would hate to define it by that, Cole Hawker is the best in the world or was the best in the world, and you beat him in his very own event. So I'm sure that gives you a lot of confidence, moving forward, that you beat someone who has beat everyone else the biggest day, the biggest stage. A question I'm really curious for you, and we've talked about this before, like, do you love to win more than you hate to lose, or do you hate to lose more than you love to win? When you stood on the starting line at USA's, was your heart in more of a place of like seeking out the win, or was it more in a place of like, I can't not make top three? Like, was it fearful or excitement?
I think it was
Or a mix of
excitement.
both? Okay.
It was definitely like this fully excitement. NCAA is a little bit of fearful, and that's where like I go back to what I said about Yard and Hobbs. It's like they had a lot of external pressure, I'm sure. At NCAAs, I had a lot of external pressure. It's like he's done this, so there's no reason he shouldn't win this race. Um, and for me at USA's, it was complete excitement and like, all right, I have nothing to lose here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to give it my best effort. And if I come fifth, guess what? That is better than I've ever run before. If I was fifth or sixth at USA's this year, that would have been my best race. That would have been the best I've ever placed. And I would have taken that, obviously, but would have been disappointed. But like, you still take that as a source of confidence. It's like I was sixth. I was the 12th last year. I did better. Um, I'd say I love to win more than I hate to lose. I think you gotta love both of them almost, because the lessons you learn from losing are so important into like your progression. Without losing, like you would like, yeah, without losing, I think you'd hit a plateau so much earlier. Like people find out how good they can be, and I think people the limit of how good someone could be would be they wouldn't be able to be as good if you didn't lose. If someone only won every single race, their limit would be, yeah, I think their limit would be a lot lower. I love both, and obviously in the moment you hate losing, but the lessons you learn from it are, like I said, so super important. So in terms of our sport, I think you have to love it a little bit.
You mentioned the pressure kind of, I think it's fair to say, crumbling down on Yard and Hobbs, and it's a common theme we see in the sport. But I think you and me both know what you're capable of in the sport and what you're ultimately going to do at the professional level. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that you're going to start to win some things. You're going to start to make teams, as you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, inevitably, there will be pressure. What are ways you plan on overcoming that pressure and making sure it doesn't overcome or overrule you, kind of like it has in the past at, this past NCAAs? Because I think that'll be a unique challenge for you to overcome. And I think it's something that, in my opinion, separates like the great from like the best, is like
Yeah.
a Messi or a Brady or Mahomes. It's like you watch Mahomes I hate the Chiefs, by the way, but you watch Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, and it's like it almost annoys you as someone who hates Mahomes, because he's just going to do better because everyone's talking about him.
Yeah.
And it's so rare. So how do you think you'll get to that point?
Yeah. I mean, people like that know how to deal with that pressure. I think you have to see it as a privilege. Like you have to. If you see it as if you see it as detrimental, like it's going to hurt you. If you see it I feel like there are a lot of people in the world who would kill for the pressure that to be in my shoes, and with that comes the pressure. But like so many people need pressure, and that makes you a better person, makes you a better athlete. Um, I think you just have to constantly remind yourself that the situation that I have put myself in, like the pressure comes with that, and it's a good thing. And I think one another way that I can handle it, and obviously I think I'm going to be surrounded by athletes who are just as good as me in this next step. I'm going to have some teammates who are all doing the same thing as me. Um, Parker's going to make world teams. Nico Young has made world teams, Olympic teams. Like Abdi Hamider has made an Olympic team. Like I'm going to be surrounded by people who are going through the same thing as me, going through the same process, and I think talking with them and being teammates with them are going to help me so much through this next step. And obviously I'm not there yet, but my guess is without those guys, my ceiling is lower than it's going to be. I'm feeling when I'm around people who are also trying to pursue excellence and win medals, that pressure is going to become a little bit more normalized, and it might affect you a little less.
What were those moments like after the race? You play second, you run 3:30, make your first world team. What were those moments like with Milt, Ian? I'm not sure if he was there. I'm guessing he was. Family, like your family, your parents, they raised you into the athlete you are. Milt developed you into the athlete you are. These people have so much investment. In some sense, they were probably more nervous going into this than you were. What were those moments like with those people, and what's the celebration been like, celebrating this remarkable achievement that no one will ever be able to take away from you?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's just pure joy for a while. It's like I'm in the media tent talking to people, and I'm just so happy. And then I come out and I see my coaches, and they're big smiles on their face, and like to see that many people, like my family, just like so happy. Yeah, I got videos from my brother of him screaming at the TV. It's like to have that many people that are so like I guess invested in me and love seeing me succeed. Just like it makes the whole process so much. It makes the whole thing so much better. Like if I walked out of there and it was just I was happy and like I had one coach and the community that I've surrounded myself with are awesome, and seeing them be so happy for me, I think just makes the experience so much better. But yeah, I mean it's just to celebrate like my brain was scattered for like 24 hours. It was just all over the place. Like I got a chance to sit down and like respond to people and talk to people like yesterday on the flight and stuff. But like before then, it was just pure chaos, like for 24 hours. And yeah, and also just like the running community in the US right now is awesome. It's like one of the coolest things ever is most people are really good friends outside of competition. It's something I'm very grateful to be a part of because the running community is pretty tight knit, and it makes after these events and it makes celebrating like successes just that much better.
What would you say to a kid out there listening, you know, senior year Ethan? He's
Mm-hmm.
good. He wants to be great. He's got some years to prove it. What do you say to him?
I mean, I think you got to surround yourself with the right people. You got to surround your, you need to find somebody who's actually going to be invested in you. And I know that's hard to do. Um, I'd say you can't have a coach who's very like he's doing it for himself. You want to find a coach. You want to find teammates who are doing it and for more than themselves and want you to succeed because or want you to succeed for more than just themselves. They want you to succeed because they want to see you succeed. Um, I got really lucky that I had parents that weren't overbearing with my process, but kind of told me what they think I should look for and then let me figure it out myself. But I knew like Milt right away. I knew that he was going to be heavily invested in me. Like it was never a fact that I was going to get to campus and I was going to be thrown to the wolves. And if it didn't work out, I was going to be just like an afterthought. Like I always knew he was going to be fully invested in me. And so for people coming up, like that's something you got to search for and try not to settle for less because if you do, you're probably not going to be happy and you're probably not going to be able to, see how to actually find out how good you can be.
On a lighter note, closing out this conversation, we talked about car talk before. It could be a podcast in and of itself. What's the top three options? Are we set on a Tesla here?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go to Flagstaff, so it's snowy. My car right now, I have a 2022 Camry SE. It's front wheel drive, so it's not going to survive the Flagstaff winters. So I need something with four wheel drive. Um, right now, I'm deciding between just a Tesla Model 3 or a 4Runner. Those are probably the two options that I would really want. Obviously, if price wasn't like if price didn't exist, I would probably want like a Model S Plaid, but I can't afford that. So we're probably gonna go Model 3 or 4Runner.
Hey, I
Um,
don't know how the contract works, but you medal at Worlds bonus question mark
I
Model
gotta
S
if
money.
if I medal at Worlds, I might buy myself a Model S. We'll see.
What are those?
Um,
What are you a car guy? Like what are your like guilty pleasures that you'd spend money on now that you're like out
I'm
of college?
It's the craziest thing. I'm not a car guy, but I've been living in Parker's house for 6 weeks now. And within the first week of showing up and being in his house, I started thinking about getting a new car. I've never
Is he a
ever
car
thought
guy?
about buying a car. This family, they love cars. They
Oh,
love their
okay.
cars. Um, so like I never really even thought about it, and also didn't. They're the one that brought to my attention. Like you're going to Flag. There's a lot of snow. You're not going to survive with the two-wheel drive car. Um, yeah, this family very car people. They love their cars, and I never thought about actually looking at like really buying cars as something like I wanted to do, or buying a car as like something I wanted to do. And then I showed up here, and within the first week, I was like, yeah, I probably should get a new car before I go to Flag. So
What's the guilty pleasure spend? If you haven't done it, but like in the future, like what are you into? Watches, not
I'm gonna buy
cars.
a bike. I'm
A
gonna buy a
bike?
bike, a bicycle. I'm gonna
He's a
I'm
simple
gonna
man, ladies and gentlemen.
I
I'm expecting to
that's
hear
a
like a Rolex, a Patek, just a
bicycle.
bike.
Hey, bikes are so expensive.
Are they really?
Bikes are so expensive. Like if you want a fully like the guys in the tour, what they're riding, like they're riding $18,000 bikes.
Wow.
So it's like I could get a nice you can get a nice one for a few grand. But like if I try not to spend my money. It's one thing I actually hate spending money. It's
It's
like
good. It's a good habit.
every time I make a semi big purchase, I'm like I, I don't even like that. Like some
Yeah.
people like get like they like spending money. It makes them feel good. When I spend money, it makes me feel like crap. Like I hate it. So I try not to. But if I think eventually I'll get myself a nice bike, and that'll be a pretty big purchase. I think probably the biggest purchase I'll ever make is a house, car, bike. That's about it. That's all I need.
Where do you want to live when all of running is done? Obviously, you grew up in Alabama, went to college in North Carolina. What's like the ideal, settle down lifestyle
Um,
from what you know right now?
yeah, I'd say. I mean, I actually have no idea. Like, I definitely want to buy a house at some point while I'm in Flag. However many years it takes me to get to the point where I can, we'll see. Um, but definitely, like, I don't know if that's like a permanent spot where I'm gonna like raise kids. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
I definitely want to have a house there because I mean, Flag's becoming a bigger vacation spot for a lot of people. So if you have a nice house, you can rent it out. So I definitely want to have like a location, a permanent house there, where if I ever want to go visit in the future after my running career, I can go back. But I haven't thought about that a ton. I definitely want to be towards the mountains, so like probably on the west coast somewhere. That's like my
Ethan,
happy place.
thank you for the conversation. Appreciate you, man. Always appreciate you coming on specifically
Of
so
course.
fast after a big performance. Go crush it next month in Tokyo. I'll be screaming at my TV for you. And again, it was one of the most exhilarating races I've ever watched, and so cool to see this big
Thank you.
dream that I know you've worked really hard towards come to life. So keep crushing it. You will be back
Absolutely.
on. We'll have to run it back on Pro Edition this fall after you take a
Absolutely.
break with Parker.
Definitely. Definitely. So thanks for having me on.